forever. That's outside the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. Hello again, everyone. I'm Howard Cosell. Regardless of what's happening outside, traffic jam or boycotters, they'll all be in here for a key game in the AFC West.
Well, they almost must win it. There's no question about it. The Denver Broncos right now 7-5 on the year, and of course Oakland 8-4. San Diego, the players down there with a win over Philadelphia yesterday. We're looking on tonight, and a win by Oakland, and they'll move back into a tie with the San Diego Chargers AFC West. It goes both these teams in the AFC West. Set to go. Chris Barr will bang it for the Oakland Raiders. Deep is Brunson. The Denver Broncos takes it on the short hop. Does Brunson? It's running room and moves out over the 25-yard line. And let's meet the offensive unit of the Denver Broncos. We talked about Craig Morton, the 37-year-old veteran. He, of course, is the quarterback. And as we look at the setbacks, you have to reflect over the injuries that have plagued Denver for the year. They have not had one running back that has not missed at least 2 games. Offensively, Claudio Minor missed a couple of weeks ago, breaking a long-time starting streak. And tonight, they are going to be without the services in all probability of number 25, Haven Moses, the veteran wide receiver. They are coming with, well, basically a rookie, Steve Watson, number 81. 1st and 10, and Morton to the air. Feels the pressure, tries to go deep, and his receiver down there turning back was Steve Watson, and Craig under pressure, step back in, just released the ball. No Bronco receiver in the area. Defensively, and you'll see some situation substitution tonight. You'll see a lot of these 3 up front, but you'll also see Willie Jones, Cedric Hardman on the pass rush. Those are your linebackers, and they've got a great performance this year out of Randy McClanahan and Matt Millen, the rookie out of Penn State. Your cornerback, well, Monty Jackson will not be out there, not at least to start, of right corner. Dwayne Osteen, picked up from Rams early in the year, is at right cornerback. He wears number 35. 2nd down and 10, the ball just over the 25-yard line. And off goes to Dave Preston, and Dave Preston to the 30-yard line where it'll be 3rd down and about 6, and you'll see the substitutions come in on the part of the Oakland Raiders as they begin to think in terms of pass.
Frank, you mentioned how the Broncos have been hampered by injuries. Of course, you will not be saying, as one evidence, Otis Armstrong. Out for the rest of the year, injured reserve, maybe the whole career over because of potential damage to the spine that could result in paralysis.
Cedric Hardman, Willie Jones defensively for the Oakland Raiders. They're the designated pass rushers. 3rd down, 7. Picked off. Taken there by Burgess Owens, the free safety, as it was deflected into his arm. Burgess Owens scrambling around. A flag is down as Owens gets the turnover, returns it down to the 42-yard line of Denver. Again, there is a flag down. It happened, however, after the interception, and Burgess Owens, who acquired from the Jets in offseason, has filled in nobly for an injured Charles Phillips, who was expected to play there.
Owens, of course, was a 1st-round draft choice by Weeb Eubank when he was coaching the Jets a number of years back. He became defensive captain of the Jets. They became disenchanted with him, traded him for a mere 6th-round draft choice who walked off the Jets. But as we listen,
during the run back, number 53 of the receivers, 1st down.
To finish the story, the Raiders feel that that man, Burgess Owens, has been a steadying influence in the backfield and is a team leader. One thing they know, he is a great one-on-one tackler.
1st down and 10. Rod Martin defensively clipping for Oakland. They move the ball back to the Oakland Raiders' 43-yard line. 1st and 10. Kenny King, another Raider who was acquired this year from the Houston Oilers and has performed great. Gets a couple of yards. It'll be 2nd and 8 as we look at the offensive unit. We told you a little bit about Plunkett. It's a great story that will develop during the course of the game. Many thought he was washed up. We talked about it before. Wide receivers, the speed man, of course, Cliff Branch, and the man who works underneath so well, Bob Chandler. And, of course, the veteran Raymond Chester at the tight end. Of course, Dave Casper, traded several weeks ago with the Oakland Raiders to the Houston Oilers. They have a lot of acquirees to the Oakland Raiders, and they have done well with them. 2nd and 8, safety blitz, picked up, and it's a running play to Kenny King. And that's what happens when you go with the blitz and you get the running back to the line of scrimmage. And Kenny King, 1st down, Oakland, down to the 43-yard line. And already you see the statistics start to show, and as I mentioned earlier, defensively, Denver has had a tough time against the rush. Let's meet the front three that we'll see. The Denver Broncos 3-4. We'll see substitution, of course, there. And they, too, have had many troubles at their linebacking position. Bill Rizzo out for the season. Bob Svensson, a great linebacker, has not been able to play all year long. So first down and 10. The Oakland Raiders. And the football out to Mark Van Eegen. And Mark Van Eegen making his 101st start for the Oakland Raiders. That's his 101st consecutive game he's played for the Raiders. Gets up for a gain of about 3 or 4 yards.
Look at his stats. 572 yards coming in here. By the time the season's over, he'll have about 800, 900 yards. He's been doing that almost every year. I think Van Eegen may be the most underrated player of the Oakland team.
Durable he is, and he always shows up to play. Give Van Eegen 5. We'll call a second down and 5. The ball at the 38-yard line. Hand off again to Van Eegen, and he pulls forward for maybe a yard and a half. It'll be third down, and, well, we'll call it a long 3. In all probability, the passing situation, although you never know how Oakland is thinking because they know about those defensive stats of the Denver Broncos. They have not done well against the rush, 12th in their conference. So on a long 3rd and 3, they may keep it on the ground. Out to the right goes Bob Chandler, the 10-year veteran. Acquired from Buffalo in offseason. He's been brilliant. To the left is Cliff Branch. Van Eegen tries to turn back inside, saw an opening, does not get the first down, and he's piled up right at the 35-yard line. Randy Gradishar, and you can almost call that name for the Denver Broncos on any running play. He just is something very special. The play is hurt. We saw him last year, Howard, as you know, in the final game of the season against San Diego, playing with a very bad hand. He had surgery then. He, of course, had rib problems earlier in the year. Literally won the Cleveland game for Denver with a 93-yard interception return. Randy Gradishar, here comes the punting unit for Oakland.
A little surprised at that. 35 yards out. You would think, I guess it's early in the ball game.
Well, Ray Guy doesn't always punt. This time he will angle for the sidelines. Oakland playing it very conservative. And ball being marked. Not necessarily a good kick by Guy at the 15-yard line. The line of scrimmage, however, was up at the 35-yard line, a 19-yard pickup. Oakland, Alameda County Stadium. We'll be back in a moment. Started with the Cowboys in 65, with the Giants for a while. In the past 3 years, he has taken Denver to the playoffs. This is Dave Preston over the left side. Preston for a couple of yards out near the 19-yard line. Giving 4, it'll be second down and 6. And again, we told you at the top of the show, there was an intended boycott. How effective, we don't know. We saw people outside in the parking lot. They were going to wait 5 minutes before they came in protest to the intended move of the Oakland Raiders to California. But again, we've also told you it's 6 o'clock here in California, and these folks out here drive a lot of cars. And there's a massive traffic problem here. Second and 4. The ball right at the 19-yard line. Quick movement on the left side of the line by the part of Denver.
They were not set up for that play. You could tell Craig trying to get people lined up. It was a mess up. He had Odoms in the wrong place, had his backs lined up wrong. And talking to Craig before the game, he felt that they were going to try to take advantage of Oakland's, I guess you'd say, specialized defenses. They have so many people they bring in situations. And one of the ways that they were trying to do, they haven't done it yet, was to call 2 plays at one time.
Well, I'm still puzzled by Oakland's last series when they blew a big opportunity. It seemed to me that Plunkett's play calling was tentative and over-conservative because he calls the plays for Oakland, not from the bench.
Proceeds to call. 5 yards, second down and 11. The ball inside the 15. Rob Lytle to the left side, and he's piled up there, sacked up by basically what is the pass rushing defense. Dwayne Osteen from his right cornerback came up, turned it to the inside, and there were a lot of black jerseys right there to meet Rob Lytle, one of those Bronco running backs that has been in and out of the lineup this year because of knee problems.
And Big Dave Studdard, who's a defensive, his offensive tackle, they've not been particularly pleased with off and on. And that time they had Dave back in that backfield, which caused Lytle to go a little bit to the outside. The play never had a chance.
Third down and 14, and keep your eyes on number 90, Willie Jones, and number 86, Cedric Hartman. They couldn't care less about any run possibilities. They just go for the quarterback. knows that also and goes out to Rick Upchurch. Upchurch turns the corner.
Hey. Went out of bounds.
And he steps out of bounds finally out at the 42-yard line. Burgess Owens made the stop out there, but this man is Mr. Excitement when he has a broken field. He gets the first down and gets the Denver Broncos out of trouble.
All right, so quick, you see that Upchurch comes from the left side of the formation. It is a swing pattern. Nice play to the outside. That was Lester Hayes came up. Good move by Upchurch to the inside. This play had a chance, looks like right there. He just barely. He couldn't get his balance. He could have gone all the way on that one. Rick is the kind of guy that really keeps him loose.
He saw a great block by Tom Glassy that enabled Upchurch to get the first down at the 42-yard line of Denver. Craig on first down. Out he goes to Preston, and Preston is at the 48-yard line, and they're saying no, he was not taken away as Lester Hayes romps towards the end zone, but they'll bring it back, and it'll be a pickup of about 6 yards. And Preston now is slow getting up. Preston missed games early in the year with a collapsed lung.
Hayes will do that, though. He's, in his own way, a defensive game breaker with 10 interceptions already. Here's an end zone replay.
Quick little out route, shoot route, where you call it, to the back. Dave Preston. Just a head-on collision, and it appears it dazed him a little bit. The ball falls out, but they said he was down.
So Dave Preston is being administered to, and we'll be back in a moment. Injury appears not to be too serious. Jim Jensen, number 30, comes in.
The L.A. Traders, some of the feeling of Oakland fans who for years have supported this team with packed houses. They don't want to lose their team.
Second down for Denver, their own 48-yard line. And Jim Jensen with good ball handling in the backfield explodes right up the middle, and he's down to the 38-yard line of the Oakland Raiders. Burgess Owens made the save there.
He did make a save, a shoestring save.
Well, Jim Jensen, in the light of the past few years, you also know about him, how Dallas let him go, and how he's made it with this team. He is a great all-around athlete. Yet, in the Landry system, there has been a predisposition, and this is not criticism, of big backs in his system.
First and 10 at the 38-yard line of the Oakland Raiders over the middle to Jensen, and Jensen is down to the 32-yard line. A pickup of about 6. It was Matt Millen, the rookie out of Penn State, who has performed so well. As you can see, Craig gets the body together, pops it back up.
Yeah, Rod Martin let him have a pretty good hit. Linebacker came in. A shot there of Matt Millen.
You know, this young man is really going to help to the Raiders. They lost Steve Nelson, who was activated again, by the way, early in the season. They lost Monty Johnson, a great linebacker. Matt Millen, a rookie out of Penn State, a second-round pick, was a defensive lineman there, and he has really performed well for the Oakland Raiders, considering the loss of 2 key linebackers. It's second down and 4, 32-yard line. Jensen gets the call, and he bowls up close to a first down inside the 27, and he'll have it.
He can do it all, Jensen. You saw him first with the run for the first down, then you saw him with the catch, and again with the run for the first down. Meantime, Craig Morton is directing this team beautifully. I remember back in '65, Morton came up with a group, Dandy. Joe Namath, Munson from Utah State, and Otto Graham was coaching Washington at the time. And he said, you know the one I like best? Morton. He is the purest passer. He can throw it.
First and 10. If Morton has been doing the scouting report, he'll put it in the air. Oakland plays the run on first down. And Morton throws it away. Riley Odoms is in the area. The partisan crowd wants to call against Morton, but he was very wise as the Raiders covered well downfield.
Craig said, I had a hitch in my get-along. I didn't throw that thing away. It just popped on me. He actually did have a Jim Jensen open to the other side. It was intended to be a screen out to Riley Odoms. It was read very well by the Oakland defense, and Craig just grounded it.
It'll be second down and 10.
No chance of deflection that way, right? First bounces don't count.
Would have been hard.
6.5 minutes remaining in the first quarter. John Keyworth in now, number 32, set back for Denver. Flags are down. You saw the movement. Over the middle, and it's complete. It's Upchurch, and Upchurch has yardage for the first down, but again, a flag is down at the line of scrimmage.
Well, it appeared that Oakland was offside, but it may have been induced. As you see, it was.
So that gain, which would have been a first down around the 15-yard line, will be called back, as indicated by referee Red Passion. Going back. Oakland tonight, and we're going to be in Houston on Thursday night, and that's going to be a dandy. The Steelers against the Houston Oilers.
My old hometown.
And a week from tonight, we'll be in Miami for New England against the Miami Dolphins.
Hey, that Pittsburgh-Houston game, though, that's putting it all on the line down there.
It was just about a year ago, Pittsburgh at Houston, that Love Ya Blue was born, and you'll see it again Thursday night.
I'll tell you, our congratulations to the Cleveland Browns. They're on top of that AFC Central with a win over Houston yesterday. Second down, 15. John Keyworth. And Keyworth lunges ahead inside the 25-yard line, picks up 6 of those yards. Don Matuzak slides out defensively from his left end position to make the stop. There's John Keyworth. He also missed so many games this season. He had both knee and shoulder problems. He comes out. Jim Jensen, who just came back last week. As you get a look at his left thumb, you'll understand why. He had a surgical repair job on it just a few weeks ago. Third down and 8. Martin tries to go out to Rick Upchurch. Incomplete. It'll be fourth down, and we are in all probability going to see a man who is red hot for the Denver Broncos. That, of course, would be Fred Steinfort. Steinfort, there he is, started with the Oakland Raiders. He has the unique qualifications of having retired, literally, George Blanda, the leading scorer in NFL history. He went to the Broncos this year, and he retired Jim Turner, the second leading field goal kicker. He actually started with the Oakland Raiders back in '76 as a 5th-round draft pick.
He's well within his range. Well within it.
Sure he is. He kicked one 57 yards earlier this year. That is 9 straight field goals for Fred Steinfort. He is now 22 of 25 on the year. A remarkable year for Fred Steinfort from Boston College. We'll be back in a moment. Fred Steinfort will kick off. He has just put the Denver Broncos ahead of 3-0. A pair of speedsters. 43 is Ira Matthews. Art Whittington, 22. Whittington has already returned one this season, but the ball goes to Matthews. And Matthews hit as he moves out over the 25, close to the 28-yard, and Oakland will have possession at that point.
What we have seen thus far, to put things in perspective, Oakland's first drive, they ran the ball 5 times. There was tentative play calling. They gave it up on the Denver 35. The springboard of the drive for Denver that led to the field goal was the screen pass play on 3rd down to Upchurch, and an overcommitment on the pass rush by Oakland. Frank?
Luckett, close to 52% on the year. Took over 7 weeks ago. First and 10. And the pass rush, he gets away from it, steps to the outside, and goes back over the middle to his fullback, Mark Van Eegen. And this is what Plunkett can do. Many people have said in recent weeks he's doing it too frequently, sliding out a little early, but you saw he would have been sacked had he not. Rushing him was Reuben Carter, but he got the pass away by moving out.
Frankie got some good pressure in there. He did move back to the outside. I think he was trying to go downfield to a wide receiver. This is a safety without Mark Van Eegen. These guys kind of lucky to get that one off, I think, because they had good pressure. Could have been a sack.
I tell you, I don't care what the team statistics are. Denver hits.
Van Eegen gets the first at the 40-yard line of Oakland. Plunkett, he has the time. He's going deep for Branch. And there's a battle for the football as Aaron Kyle goes up with Cliff Branch. And, of course, Aaron Kyle, 4 years with the Dallas Cowboys. He came to Denver 5 weeks ago on procedural waivers, meaning he really was able to pick his team that he went with.
They're going to work over Aaron Kyle because he is not notably good on coverage, but he is notably good as a hitter. He is a terrific hitter.
They've actually been pleased with this acquisition for a couple of reasons. It's freed up Foley to head back into that safety position, and Aaron is the kind of guy who was drafted very high against Dallas. Just hasn't quite fit in there. Maybe this is his spot.
Second down and 10. Kenny King, right side, huge hole, and King It bounces off the tackle of Steve Foley, but he gets the first down. He's inside Denver territory, and what a bargain this man was. Jack Tatum, traded to Houston, and Kenny King came for a couple of 7th-round draft picks, and he carried the ball 3 years for Houston. I mean, three times for Houston a year ago, and for 9 yards, and here he's over 635 yards.
As we said at the beginning of the telecast, he gives Oakland a whole extra dimension.
And by the way, not denigrating Jack Tatum, he's had a super year for Houston.
That's true.
On 1st and 10. Van Egan collected and dropped by Rob Nairn. Gain of a couple of yards. Give him 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7.
Good offensive blocking that time. He had plenty of time to throw. Chose to go to the man under. Offensive line set there, formed a pocket. One of the criticisms that has been leveled at Plunkett in the last few weeks is that when he goes back to set, he won't take that extra step or 2 steps back up in the pocket. And supposedly his lineman keeps saying, hey, trust us, we're going to protect you. Come back up in that pocket.
After those 2 years of getting shell-shocked across the bay. So, 2nd and 7, flags all over the lot. Plunkett will play it out. Slips and goes to the turf, short of the first down at the 41-yard line.
We saw Greg Boyd was the guy that jumped off sides, and how many times you see the guy that jumps off sides, the guy doesn't do anything after he gets over there. What he did is get off sides and didn't get a good pass rush either.
Denver is claiming inducement, and they're right.
Well, I sure didn't see it.
And it'll bring the run of Jim Plunkett back.
That hurts. Oakland.
Down will remain the same, and we will have a 3rd down and about 12. We'll have a 2nd down and about 12.
Let's get that flag up, gentlemen.
Illegal procedure. Number 16 on the offense. Still 2nd down.
Quarterback Jim Plunkett making an illegal move.
I don't believe that.
He can't mark a snap that is deliberately interpreted to induce the defense to move offside. He can't make sudden movements to do that. Obviously, he did. 2nd and 12, 3:11 remaining here in the first quarter. Denver on top 3-0. Plunkett with good protection. Kenny King. Good open field tackle by a man who can do it. Number 57, Tom Jackson.
He still has the range. He still has the speed. He is still fearless. And as you saw, he's a terrific one-on-one tackler. Their linebackers, through their years of excellence, have been, it seems to me, Don, their standout commodity.
It seems to me that a few years ago when they went to the Super Bowl, that was what everybody was saying, and probably true, that without those linebackers, they wouldn't have gotten close. Of course, Granishar is the guy, I guess, that gets more publicity than anyone. But Tom Jackson, the guy you know, Rizzo, they've had some injuries in that linebacking core this year.
3rd down, 6. The ball at the 45-yard line. Both wide receivers, Branch, Chandler, split to the right. Plunkett. Chandler.
Yes, sir. Good throw.
Chandler, who has been a spark plug for the Oakland offense, down to the 35-yard line. 1st down.
Secret to that play was self-evident. Plunkett had all year to throw. Superb protection.
He did. You also got most of the receivers are over on this side of the field. He's got Chandler faking to the outside, coming back in across the middle. Foley's there on him. So they cleared out a zone here, but you're right, he had time to throw. Good route by Chandler, though. He came into the outside and got open over the middle.
Chandler from Buffalo in a straight player swap for Phil Villapiano this year. 1st and 10. Plunkett, Branch, complete. And Branch is taken quickly by Tom Jackson, thrown forward, however, close to the 25-yard line, about a yard short of another Oakland 1st down with 1:25 and the clock moving, remaining the first quarter.
The quick out, the quick sideline, that's what he should have thrown in the very first series Oakland had in this game.
I think everybody, quarterback, they're a little tentative in that first series of downs. This one has been a very good one because he has mixed it up. He's not run that much, but he has hit the passes underneath, the quick outs. Came to Chandler, I guess, with the longest gain over the middle.
Chandler, wide side of the field to face Louis Wright defensively for Denver. And this is Mark Van Egan, and again on the blitz, Oakland's offensive line opens a big hole, and Van Egan down to the 23-yard line. 1st down, Oakland. Randy Gradishar made the stop. We showed you the stadium at the beginning of the show, primarily because of the traffic problems. It was about half empty. And, of course, because of an intended boycott for the first 5 minutes of this game in protest for the attempted move to Los Angeles by the Oakland Raiders. Now you can see it's a sellout crowd. Telecast in the area, the first sellout for Oakland this year. And, of course, they've had over a decade of sellouts. First down, Kenny King. Oh, Kenny King motors all the way down to the 6-yard line. He gets the first down.
Oh, did you see him accelerate through that hole? Where?
He did that, but he also is one of the few backs. He got out to where the hole was very quick, too. Watch this. Van Egen's leading. Kenny goes to the outside. Now he sees this thing begin to form. A good block right there by Van Egen on the outside. Just giving him a little daylight, coming right back in. He is a good back. He's a good back.
And the crowd applauds as they rise to their feet. The quarter expires here in Oakland, California. We'll be back to second quarter action in just a moment.
The signs speak for themselves, Frank. Some of those who were outside, their feelings are understandable. The matter too complex to be detailed legally during the course of a game, and that's no cop-out. The courts will decide.
First and goal to go. The Oakland Raiders are down 3-0 as we begin the second quarter. Plunkett hands off. Kenny King hammered right there at the 5-yard line, and he'll make about a half a yard out of that. It'll be second down and goal to go, and those are the first quarter stats.
And they show the superiority overall, minor though it is, of Oakland, particularly in total yards and time of possession. Right now, I don't understand that last call. I go with a pass on first.
Well, of course, the one that got him down there was Kenny King that went to the outside. Granted, a different sort of a defense. I think he does the team good if they can take a ball in via the run, but well, let's see what he does this time.
Second and goal. The ball just outside the 5-yard line. Play action.
Wide open.
Wide open, and Plunkett dribbles it out. Slipped as he came back. Tried to get it out. Man was wide open. Derek Ramsey in the end zone.
He was so wide open, it was like somebody missed an assignment. However, that could have been the linebacker that we saw wrapped around Plunkett.
I think Plunkett gets tangled up here with his play action. There he is with Van Egen.
Yep. That was just pretty good first pressure in there. He threw it right in the middle. You can see the Oakland player way behind.
Lucky wasn't intercepted.
That was, Marsh Bradshaw was the guy that came out. So you now got a third down and 5. That play action won't work nearly as well now.
Third and goal. Brent, the one wide receiver, splits out to the left. Raymond Chester, 88. Derek Ramsey, 84. They're the two tight ends, and they're in close. Plunkett, and he'll be sacked at the 14-yard line. Good coverage downfield defensively for Denver. And who got there was Bryson Manor, number 66.
I thought that was that. I guess it was Tom Jackson. It looked like he was beating the bongo drums on.
That was not, to put it mildly, a very impressive series for Plunkett.
It was until they got down to the 5. When they got down there and that first play, then they started sputtering. He did make a mistake coming out to the outside. Plunkett does call his plays. I was not aware of that. I thought they sent him after the side.
Chris Barr comes out, 31-yard field goal attempt. The man who holds, Bob Chandler. Barr, 13 of 24 on the year.
I don't believe it.
And he's wide to the right, and Denver, with a first down and goal at their 6-yard line, gets out of it. They will lead 3-0 when we return, and that will be the situation. This from 31 yards out. The Broncos up to the line of scrimmage, first and 10, the ball at their own 20-yard line. That would have to give the Broncos a lift. Oakland had moved briskly down the field. Had a first and goal at the 6-yard line. We'll turn back. On first down, Morton into the flat, finds Rob Lytle, and Rob Lytle steps out of bounds. Out at the 25-yard line. Gain of 5, it'll be second and 5.
Well, I can tell Al Davis that, but unfortunately, that will not be the decisive opinion.
Influential.
A federal court judge will render that opinion.
That decision coming sometime early February.
But my position on franchise removals has been established since 1970 before the Congress. I'm against them unless there's economic distress.
Second down 5. Up the middle goes Jim Jensen, and Jim Jensen finds a crowd of Raiders there, gets a yard and a half out of it. It'll be third down and 4. Now they mark it out over the 26, so call it third down 3. And the changes take place wholesale as Oakland sends in their pass rushing unit. Cedric Hardman comes in, Willie Jones comes in, and Otis McKinney comes in the secondary. Dave Preston comes back into the game for Denver. Preston 46. Martin had the time, fired it behind Jim Jensen. Fourth down, we'll see the punting unit.
Jensen was open there too. It was a late move. You see, they went into the 4-man rush. Pretty good blocking this time. Craig comes up. He saw the Oakland defender in front of him, pulled it back. That could have been an interception. That was Otis McKinney, number 23. He came in, made that fake. By the time he pulled it back down, he wound up going behind.
Luke Prestridge, 43.3-yard average. There's Ira Matthews for Oakland, but Prestridge second in the AFC behind the Oakland Raiders' Ray Guy in punting. Prestridge doesn't turn it over, but he gets it to Ira Matthews at the 32. And huge opening for Matthews. Look out. Matthews with a brilliant return to the 36-yard line, and Prestridge, the punter, had to make the save at that point.
And no flags on the play.
I don't think this one was set up as much as it was. He decided, I'm just going to run this way. Matthews saw it right up the middle, big hole up the middle, and that's Prestridge, you see, that tripped him up.
And this is the kind of return that they anticipated from Matthews when they drafted him a year ago as the nation's best returner from Wisconsin. Pocket on the sideline, talking with head coach Tom Flory. There he is on the left, a former Raider quarterback in his own right many years ago, early 60s. Still holds several Oakland Raider records. But Ira Matthews has returned the Prestridge punt to Denver's 36-yard line. Once again, Oakland in super field position.
This is the third time that they will have enjoyed super field position. They haven't capitalized yet. I relate this to the signal calling, but I'll tell you this much. You get the feeling that Oakland is a talent-laden team in a slump.
Out to the left, both wide receivers. Branch and Chandler, and Puckett will go on top. Puckett will go down at the 47-yard line, and the man that got in there, number 75, that's Rulon Jones, a rookie, first draft pick for the Denver Broncos this year. That's his 8th sack of the season, and he's been spectacular. They got him in the second round because they didn't have a first pick.
He really has been spectacular ever since he began to get his shot. How quickly Plunkett got them out of good field position.
Jones, a rookie out of Utah State, big man, 6'6", 260. And the loss is all the way back to the 46, second down and 20. Plunkett again. Boyd pressures Plunkett. Plunkett looks over the middle, and he finds his setback King, and King gets it back to the 35-yard line. And they'll mark it at the original line of scrimmage, and it's going to be third down and 10.
Rulon Jones is working on big Art Shell, whom we've seen many, many times. Art is so big, it's pretty easy for him to handle most of them.
Interesting thing happened with Art Shell. Bob Trumpy on NBC said last week that Shell, on passing situations, was giving it away, was dropping back to have more time for the pass block. Shell vigorously denied it. Watch it.
Third down, 10. Art Shell, number 78 for the Raiders. Plunkett. Chandler on one that could have been caught, however, it was high, and it'll be fourth down.
It was high, but he slightly mistimed his jump, and that's what did it.
He was sure wide open in there. It's a pretty good route. You see him working on Louis Wright. Make to the outside to the inside. Louis was a little late in reacting. Slipped down some, too. He did mistime it a little bit. That ball was up there. He had both hands on it, I think. So Chandler would be the first to admit should have had that one.
Ray Guy leading the AFC in punting. Trailing, but moving up closer to the Giants' Dave Jennings. Dave Jennings leading the NFL. Just under 46 yards through 12 games. Bill Thompson settles in as safety for Denver, but they're anticipating the out-of-bounds effort on the part of Ray Guy, and that's what they get. And they got a no. Did they got it? Nope. They're saying into the end zone. It'll be a touchback, and boy, that was close, but the official right on top of it. Ray Guy doesn't like it at all. So we have 11:39 remaining here in the first half. Denver leading 3-0.
Around here. On the other side of the coin, they are 15-1-1 on Monday nights, the Raiders are. And the record shows that over the past 15 years, they've got the best record in professional football.
Pick up Church. Wide receiver, split to the right, first down and 10. Morton gets the ball deflected as he tries to get it away in the general area of Riley Odoms. It'll be second down and 10.
Riley Odoms is such a wonderful target. He's so big, but he has been hampered with injuries both last year and this year. If you take Haven Moses out and you got Riley Odoms limping, you really do. You're limited to who you can throw to out there. Of course, Rick Upchurch is the kind of guy that's speedster. But Craig has been throwing a lot to his backs, Preston in particular.
Odoms, 2 big games coming in to tonight. 6 receptions in each of the 2 previous games. Craig switches up, hands off the ball, running play. Out to the 25-yard line.
You know that
the big man, Jim Jensen.
All right, big play now for Denver. Try to get something started again. Oakland's blown 3 opportunities. The score might well have been 14 Oakland, 3 Denver. It's Denver 3, Oakland nothing.
Third down, a little more than 5 yards to go. Oakland thinking pass. They bring in Jones, Hartman, and we'll see what Morton comes with on third down and long 5. Morton buried, and he had to dump it off towards Rob Lytle in the pass rush. Pressures Morton into a 4th down situation.
we had Matuzak, Hendricks, both were leading in there. You see, Craig, he was trying to get the ball off quickly to the right side where the pressure's going to come. There's Ted Hendricks, 83. Matuzak's, he almost grabbed Craig's face mask on his way down. The ball had to be released a little bit quicker than that. That's what you got to say.
There's Ira Matthews. He had a nifty return of 31 yards a few minutes ago, but Oakland could not capitalize on it. This time, Crestridge bangs a beauty that takes Matthews all the way back to his 25. And this time, the special team performed for Denver, and Oakland will have the football at their own 33-yard line. 50-yard punt. I want to remind you about Saturday. College football coming your way, a national doubleheader, and it'll begin live at 12 o'clock Eastern time. First game, Florida against Florida State. Florida taking on number 3 ranked Florida State. That should be quite a matchup. And then that'll be followed by a long-time traditional rivalry. Number 2 ranked Notre Dame going against USC. They do it year in and, of course, year out. The final year of college football, regular season, of course. So be with us. NCAA college doubleheader coming up on Saturday. First down 10, 33-yard line, Oakland Raiders. Kenny King. And King moves out close to the 38-yard line for about a 5-yard pickup. It'll be second down and 5.
Decent first down pickup on the ground.
That's right.
There's a young man Oakland really coveted 2 years ago. They wanted to draft Kenny King. They didn't have a 3rd-round draft pick. Houston Oilers took him. So Oakland, they waited around a little bit, and they made some offers earlier this season, and Houston decided to trade him, and they did so for Jack Tatum, who's having a good year with the Oilers, and the Oilers also got a couple of 7th-round draft picks. King has certainly been worth all of that to Oakland this year. Second and 5, and here he comes again, and King gets the first down at the 45-yard line. 5'11", a 205-pounder.
Well, they've certainly shown the ability, Dan Daru, to move the football downfield until they get into scoring range.
They had a wonderful drive prior to this one when they moved down to the 5-yard line, doing just what they've done here. They let Kenny King run a little bit. They hit some short passes. Kenny King is just, he is a terrific guy to have in that back there. He's also a good pass receiver.
First down is at the 45-yard line of Oakland. Plunkett overthrows Cliff Branch.
And interestingly, the first time he's thrown the Cliff Branch.
Well, he tried to get him down the line a while ago with Aaron Kyle, but it's the first time he's come to him across the middle on this thing. We were talking about Art Shell a while ago, number 78. He's trying to, I can't tell what he's really talking about. The block, he seems to have pretty good control of Bryson Manor that time. Good position.
A veteran lineman like an Art Shell a lot of times will set up like he's going to pass on a draw play, and if they start to read things like that, they're in a lot of trouble. I'm talking about the defense. Now look at Art Shell now. He's back like he's going to pass block.
And he's
going to, but he'll do it on other occasions.
Somebody didn't pass block very well that time.
They lost. The sack is all the way back to the 35-yard line. Bryson Manor in there again.
Well, they're stunning up in the defensive line. But look at Jim. His feet kind of freeze here a little bit. I was mentioning earlier. All right, he sits right here. And he kind of felt that coming and leaned into it. They want him to come back up a little bit quicker into that pocket rather than go back that distance and stay. That gives the defensive lineman a point to reference where they charge towards. If the quarterback moves up a little bit in that pocket, they have to adjust that route. Oftentimes throws them off, saves the quarterback a pretty good hit.
Third down. You saw how much? 19 yards. Oakland from the 36-yard line. Pressure on Plunkett. And he gets out of trouble. He can't find a receiver, however. Hangs it up, and this one will be fought for at the 40-yard line. It was intended for Bob Chandler. Tom Jackson and Steve Foley were right there with him, incomplete.
But Cliff Branch was all alone further downfield.
Couldn't throw it that far. He had already lost enough yardage back on the other side.
And he was busy.
Yeah, he was busy. He was back there doing some things. You see those guys picked off an awful lot because when you wait that long to throw and throw that deep, you've got an even break now for the defensive secondary or linebackers and your offensive receivers.
There he is, the all-time leading punt returner in the NFL. He replaced the late Jim Tunnell only last year, but he did it, you believe, in 6 years. Ray Guy will kick away.
Let him out now. Keep it up. Keep it up.
Line drive by Ray Guy. Rick Upchurch has to watch it, and it trickles out of bounds at the 11-yard line. And while that was not a thing of beauty by Ray Guy, you have to think it was also intended. Superb athlete, Ray Guy. Great punter. We'll be back. Took over as a starter some 6 weeks ago. This is his 7th start tonight. He had won a couple of games in relief of Matt Robinson, the early starter for Denver. Mainly Cleveland and Washington. And on 1st and 10, Morton hands off to Jensen, and Jensen out to the 15-yard line.
That's an interesting shot right there. Plunkett with Pastorini. I had a piece of chicken, shared a piece with Dan before the game. He said, I'm ready to play. I've been ready to play for 3 weeks. But it doesn't appear he's going to be activated. No intent here to knock down Jim Plunkett, who's a fine man, has been through so much. But his efforts tonight thus far speak for themselves.
Second down, 6. Ball right at the 15-yard line. Dave Preston, left side, finds an opening, and Preston gets the first down after the 23-yard line. Taken there by Burgess Owens.
Good run.
That was Rod Martin that you saw go into that backfield alignment and almost knocked Preston down before he got to the line of scrimmage. He was able to keep his feet, make a cut back, and come through there.
Dave Preston. Again, missed 4 games with that collapsed lung earlier in the season. But shaken up early in this game, but as you can see, back in, performing well for the Broncos. 23-yard line, Denver. They're out in front, 3-0. Just does get it away and throws it behind Dave Preston, but Morton is buried once again. The 17-yard line, Rod Martin, number 53 on the blitz.
What a game coming up right here Thursday night. The Steelers against the Oilers. Each team now a game behind the astonishing Cleveland Browns. The winner stays in the chase. The loser, something else again, probably. But we'll be there. It was about a year ago that Love Your Blue was born. We'll be back for the reunion.
Morton now incomplete on 6 of the last 7 attempts. Play action and puts it up in the air over the middle, and it's complete to Ron Egloff. The second tight end, and Egloff up close to a first down. Again, dependent upon where it's Martin. Out around the 34-yard line. First and 10, Denver.
Looked awfully open to me down there in the middle for some reason. Quick little play action pass. He had a back flaring out to one side. Egloff came down the middle, and there's no one there.
That's Egloff's 6th reception of this season. 4-year man out of Wisconsin. First down, 35-yard line of Denver. Morton again, play action, and has the time. Finds Jensen over the middle. Jensen lumbering to the outside and gets the first down, stepping out of bounds at the 47-yard line. We're going to pause quickly 5 seconds and allow our stations and friends all along the line tell you who's bringing you this football game.
Channel 7, KGO TV, San Francisco.
Oakland trailing San Diego by a half a game in the AFC Western Division. A win tonight, and they move into a tie. San Diego 9-5, and of course Denver 7-5 on the season. And they, of course, would love to win tonight and move into a tie with the Oakland Raiders, a game behind San Diego. And if they don't win, well, they can start to really be concerned about the playoffs. On first down, Jensen gets the ball and moves over the left side out close to the 49-yard line. A gain of a yard and a half. It'll be second down and 9. Well, you had a look at one of the great players ever to play this game. A brief look at Gene Upshaw, 63 for the Oakland Raiders. He made his 199th, there he is, consecutive start. President of the National Football League Player Association. And just one of the best who's ever performed.
Awfully nice fella, too. Really is. Texas A&I.
Martin.
Oh, man, they're hitting him.
Hammered again. And again, defensively, moving in was Ted Hendricks, who roams around back there as a linebacker, but he always seems to be around the action, and he has been for so many years.
He can kill you. We gave him the game ball 2 weeks ago in Seattle.
What he does, really, he uses at unbelievable height. He's got great quickness. They get him at the line of scrimmage. He'll make a break from that blocker and then can move back in and pick up the speed to get back at the quarterback before he gets back there. I think he's really one of the outstanding linebackers because he does play like a defensive end a lot, too.
Just a great sense about where he is. Third down and 8. Upchurch on the sweep, and Rick Upchurch with that blazing speed, and he's close to a first down at inside the 43-yard line of the Oakland Raiders.
Upchurch is the guy that does have the speed on the team. None of the backs have anywhere close to the kind of speed Upchurch does. They've used him, I think, wisely this year. Occasionally, like we saw earlier in the game, a little flare pass where he starts from one side of the backfield, goes to the other. That was a little reverse. But Red Miller, give him credit for Red Miller using what he got.
There's a Raider coming off the field, and it is a shaken up Mike Davis, who has been a superb performer and strong safety for the Oakland Raiders this season. There he is.
It's amazing the way Morton is manipulating this team. On 2 plays ago when Hendricks all but got to him, it was astonishing to see him get the pass off when he was about to take the hit.
Upchurch gets the first down inside the 43-yard line of the Oakland Raiders. 5 minutes remaining in the first half. Denver has the only points on the scoreboard. 41-yard field goal by Fred Steinfort. They lead 3-0. Watson in motion for the Broncos. Morton sidearms it out to Preston. Took his eyes off it. Incomplete.
Exactly what he did.
Second down and 10. There's Preston. Of course, we mentioned the loss of Otis Armstrong, who's retired because of a congenital spinal column problem that was discovered when he was hurt a couple of weeks ago. And all of these running backs for the Denver Broncos have been troubled throughout the season, missing at least 2 games. So it's been really a makeshift lineup almost each and every week for Red Miller. Second and 10. Steve Watson in motion once again. Down goes Morton. Submarining and coming up with Morton was the linebacker Matt Millen, the rookie from Penn State, whom we told you was a defensive end at Penn State.
Had he had time to throw, had Millen not been there, he had Rob Lytle that would have been open on a neat corner route. Millen is the guy that we talk about as being a rookie. He just wouldn't stay. They blocked him down. From the ground position, he still was able to knock Craig's feet from out from under.
That's the knee brace Matt Millen wears. It's been invented and devised by George Anderson, the head trainer of the Oakland Raiders. It is designed for preventing the knee injury in sports, the torn or ruptured medial collateral ligament. More on that in a moment. Frank.
Third down, 18. Ball 49-yard line at the Oakland Raiders. Flags are down. The Raiders just a little eager, it appeared, unless they were drawn off. Morton still tries to go upfield with it. Riley Odom had worked his way close to first down yardage, but again, flags are down following the incompletion.
Matuzak was the guy that finally got in, put some pressure on Craig. He had plenty of time to throw that time. One of the problems, or one of the criticisms for Craig, particularly in the last few years, has been his lack of mobility and not being able to step up into the pocket. He's not what you call real swift back there.
He would not be a Baryshnikov for sure.
Yeah. You look at Matuzak. He's 6'8", 280 pounds.
Too small for the game.
Too small. He can't make it. 6'8", 280 pounds.
Willie Jones, offsides. He was one of the Raiders that was offsides. So we have a third down and 13. Steve Watson playing for an injured Haven Moses. Put up to the top of your screen. This is Upchurch. Rick Upchurch hurls his tiny body, at least comparatively speaking, down to another Denver first down near the 31-yard line before he's hit by Mike Davis, who's come back into the game.
You talk about a quarterback getting the most out of what he's got in the way of talent around him. Morton is doing exactly that. Just to finish up the Matt Millen story, Frank, he sprained his medial ligament in the Buffalo game. They put the brace on him. He has not missed a practice or a game play ever since. That's the knee brace we showed you that was invented by the head trainer of the Oakland Raiders, George Anderson. So it's got great utility, obviously.
The first down is inside the 32-yard line of the Oakland Raiders. 3:20, the clock is moving, remaining here in the first half. Flea flicker, and it absolutely flicks off Morton's hand and flunks out at the 41-yard line. Oakland has the football.
That was a flea flicker that didn't flick, did it? I think
it didn't flee.
Yeah, it didn't flee or it didn't flick. I think it was Dave Browning is the guy that comes back in there. You see a blitz, but they didn't want from. No, it's Millen again who's back in there. Millen. I'm sorry, Matt Millen. He's the guy that's back in there. Matt Millen.
And Ted Hendricks, we told you he's always around the football. He gets the fumble. So Oakland has another opportunity. They're down 3-0, 3:15 in the half. He forced the flea flicker to flunk.
Happy birthday,
and
Mom.
Ted Hendricks came up with it. I mentioned he has played defensive end for Joe Paterno at Penn State, but as a freshman, he was a linebacker, so he knows the tools of his trade from linebacker. Oakland first and 10, the ball inside their own 41-yard line, 3:15 remaining in the half. Kenny King in trouble as big Rulon Jones pursues him and drags him down at the line of scrimmage.
He's already a good one. He's going to get better, isn't he?
Yeah, he really is.
Jones is all right.
Tremendous pursuit, tremendous range. He was a great draft pick.
Hey, he has helped them a lot. We remember, of course, Lyle Alzado left last year. He was the basic pass rusher for the Denver Broncos, and they have not been very successful at rushing the passer, even with the great linebackers that they've had. And Rulon Jones has really picked up in that area for Red Miller and the Broncos. Second and 10. Draw play to King. King breaks one tackle, gets out over the 45 to the 46. Stacked up there. Tom Jackson in on the stop defensively.
Good block by Upshaw that time. We were talking about it a while ago. Sent from his guard position, came out and blocked on the middle linebacker and enabled him to pick up what yardage they did.
Heading towards the 2-minute warning. Third down and 4. Ball out at the 46-yard line. Oakland will not get this play off before the 2-minute warning. They move up to the line of scrimmage. And there it is. 2 minutes remaining in the half. The Denver Broncos. And although the ball has been moved up and down the field, there's only 3 on the scoreboard, and they belong to Denver. We'll be back. no signs being held up. The largest card section you've ever seen in a football game. All say save the Raiders. Again, the reference to the Oakland Raiders attempt to move from Oakland. So they've been a smashing success, both artistically and in terms of sellouts for over a decade, in their attempt to move to Los Angeles.
Interesting scene, isn't it? Well, I saw the most profitable team in all of baseball, the Brooklyn Dodgers, move to Los Angeles. I saw one of the most profitable teams in the history of football, the Giants, moved to Jersey.
Third down, 5, as we begin the final 2 minutes of the half. Plunkett lofts it in the area of Cliff Branch, and Cliff Branch covered nicely by Perry Smith. So it'll be 4th down, and out will come Ray Guy, who's exercised his leg with frequency tonight. Ray Guy counting off to make sure he has 11 men on the field, or at least 11. Rick Upchurch drops for the Broncos with great respect as he positions himself at Denver's 15-yard line. At this point, a few minutes ago, Ray Guy kicked it out of bounds at Denver's 11-yard line when he hit a 53-yarder.
Looks to me that they were offsides.
Flag is down. Ray Guy, I don't believe, caught the corner with this one. Again, it'd be a procedure call, I believe, against the Oakland Raiders. A motion call. You saw the wingback to the Oakland Raiders pull up, and they'll bring it back. Unless that is, Denver decides, respecting Ray Guy, they'll take it at the 20-yard line.
I bet you they do, because Ray Guy certainly has the range to put it anywhere. I wouldn't want him to have another shot inside the 20, because he missed it, as he's showing you right there about how much he missed at that time.
That's exactly what Denver is doing. And I'll tell you, that is great respect, because they would have backed him up and Guy would have been kicking from about his own 35-yard line.
Save our Raiders. Well, if media people had understood in the very beginning that what happens to one city really happens to all, and if precedents hadn't been established, there wouldn't even be a question.
1st and 10, 20-yard line, the Broncos. Morton, who's thrown frequently on 1st down, does so again. This is Preston. Preston turns to the inside, out close to the 28-yard line. He'll be short of the 1st down by about a yard and a half, maybe 2. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
Don't forget, Thursday night at the Houston Astrodome, showdown between the Steelers and the Oilers. They had a tremendous game just about a year ago, won by Houston 20-17. We look for a repeat. Be with us.
Ball at the 29-yard line, 2nd and 8. The big man, Jim Jensen, Bulls is 230 pounds, out over the 30 for the 1st down. We're heading towards 1 minute remaining in the half.
Pittsburgh's about to get some of their folks healthy. They've been hurt all year. Big Steelers, they came off a pretty big win yesterday.
I don't understand this. Denver apparently content to let the half expire, yet they have the football outside their own 30-yard line. They have 3 timeouts remaining as the Goodyear Columbia looks down with Captain Nick Nicolari soaring around up there with our cameraman Archie Griffin. 30 seconds remaining in the 1st half. 1st down, Morton takes the ball out to Jensen. And now Morton decides we'll take timeout. I'll move over and I'll talk it over with Red Miller.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. Why go talk it over now? They let all the time lapse.
They ticked off 40 seconds.
Needlessly.
Very unusual call, Reds. I guess they think 3 points is going to be enough, huh? Turn it over to the defense. We scored. It's up to you guys now.
Ed Red Miller, there is your classical coach. Started 9 years at the high school, college level. Went to Boston. He went to Buffalo. He went to Denver. He went to St. Louis. He went to Baltimore, back to New England. And, of course, came and took over 4 years ago now, and has had Denver in the playoffs on first 3 years. Took him to the Super Bowl his first year, of course, losing to Dallas. And has had them in the playoffs the last 2 years, and that's a franchise that only had 3 winning teams in the previous 17 years. So Red Miller has done a job with the Denver Broncos. They're 7-5 in the AFC Western Division. They're a game and a half out of first place behind San Diego at 9-4. A win tonight, they would move into a tie with the Oakland Raiders. They'd be 1 game back of San Diego with 3 games remaining for both clubs on the season. And how about Curly, Don, moving back out there?
Yeah, just ambling on, oozing on back out there.
16 years he's been plying his trade at quarterback. A lot of zippers around the body. And he still is the man that gets it done for Denver, as he has again this year. 2nd down and 6. 25 seconds for Denver. 2 timeouts remaining. The ball at their 36-yard line. John Keyworth, and Keyworth will have a first down out at the 43-yard line. 18 seconds remaining in the half. Bob Nelson, recently activated, made the stop.
There's Al Davis, managing general partner of Oakland. A terribly difficult night for him. In the national glare, the fans openly manifesting their understandable anger. The intended removal to Los Angeles. Interestingly, there is a newspaper in Los Angeles that applauds the move because all they want is another team. That's, I guess, provincially understandable, but journalistically, perhaps questionable. After all, Los Angeles got the Dodgers from Brooklyn, the Lakers from Minneapolis, the Rams originally from Cleveland. Gets very complex as sports invades the law, the economics, the politics, and sociology of the society.
I would say that's complex.
Yeah, and here Craig is just looking for the first down out there, and he's got 18 seconds. I still understand why they have not tried to hurry up, because he's got, as we talked about earlier, he's got a field goal kicker, Fred Steinfort, who has got maybe as good a range as anybody in the league right now.
I'll tell you, he does. We saw them let Steinfort attempt a field goal against New England from 73 yards after a fair catch. 18 seconds on the clock. 1 timeout for Denver. Rick Upchurch, they just hope he can break it off on his own. He does not do so. Gets to the 45-yard line. Gain of about 3 yards, and Craig Morton stops it with his final timeout. So the Broncos out of timeouts. Craig Morton moves over to see if Red Miller has any kind of magic up his sleeve.
By the time Craig gets over there, he may have changed his mind.
Well, how many times do you think he's walked over there in 16 years? And how many times has he come back in with anything
that's really going to help him?
Going to work. Again, this game's so vital to both these ball clubs, particularly Denver. They would just about drop out of it. You look at the standings in the AFC West. San Diego, as Howard alluded to a moment ago, with a 1-point win over Dick Vermeil's Philadelphia Eagles yesterday. They're on top at 9-4. They must be watching tonight. The Oakland Raiders, of course, with a win tonight, will move into a tie. And of course, we've been talking about our Pittsburgh-Houston game, and you see the Cleveland Browns with a win over the Houston Oilers yesterday on top of that one.
Cleveland's destiny clearly is its own. Their remaining games, Jets, Pikes, and finally the Bengals.
And Oakland, they don't have it easy. They have Dallas here next Sunday. Then they play the Denver Broncos. And then they close with the Giants. It's the Oakland Raiders. Out of the shotgun, Morton. 2nd and 8, hang it up and look for a flag. Is this? And it's taken by Lester Hayes, and that is Lester Hayes' 11th interception of this season, and he is bringing it back. Time has expired. They could not get the field goal opportunity as time expires on the run back. Dave Studdard made the stop defensively for Denver. But Lester Hayes, he is something else. That's his 18th interception in less than 2 years. You think he's not all pro? Again, time expired on the run back, so Oakland unable to attempt the field goal. Let's look at it again. It was just a throw it up there in the direction of Upchurch and Watson. Hope you might get a deflection and a reception or get a penalty. And even though time might have expired, you would have on the defensive foul an opportunity for the field goal. Such is not the case, however. And the team moves into the locker room. Stay with us for our halftime highlights.